Popeyes chicken today. And I've got something I've never tried before. It's a Dr. Pepper cream soda. So I've never tried a Dr. Pepper cream soda before. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. So it's chicken time. Popeyes chicken. I got the 3-piece. Real crispy one. I'm just going to take all this and dump it out here. All my fries. Oh, chicken's skin's coming off there. And I got some more of their delicious gravy and the apple pie. So, first off, a big shout out to one of my subscribers, Daryl Mendoza. Daryl Mendoza asked for a shout out. He's kind of alluded to the fact that he was having some issues. He didn't really say it. He sounded like he was kind of down a bit, you know, and not sure what the problem is. But anyways, Daryl, all my best to you, my friend. You're an awesome supporter, an awesome person, and I can only wish the best for you, so I hope you're doing well. And a big shout out to the rest of you, and I want to take this time to thank you all for the, and I'm sorry it's taken this long, I want to thank you all for the fabulous birthday wishes and congratulatory remarks you made on my first year anniversary video. I really appreciate that, so thank you very much. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you people, okay? So, thanks very much. So, I'm just gonna dip that in and I'll pour some on there. I love their gravy. I just love it. So, when I was a little kid, as you know, I was born in southern Saskatchewan, very close to the Montana border. And we moved to Saskatoon when I was 5. My brother stayed behind. I finished school. So after a while, he was trying to decide what to do with his life. He decided he wanted to join the Air Force. Now, my brother was my hero. Unlike most brothers that are very close in age, I mean, my own 2 boys are 3 years apart. My brother and I were 13 years apart. He was born in 44, I was born in 57. So aside from being my brother, he was my big brother. He was like, he was an adult. He was not just my hero, he was like a superhero. I gotta try some of this chicken. It's so good. So, he decides he wants to join the Air Force. So, you know, with Mom and Dad's blessings, that's what he does. They put him on the train, and they sent him down to Ontario, where he would start his basic training. So, of course, the whole family was sad to see him go. But my parents were thrilled that he was joining the Air Force. They couldn't have been happier. They were so proud. And we all were. So off he goes. I remember in grade 1. After he joined the Air Force, I remember we were learning to read and write. We all just started learning to read and write in kindergarten. But I remember I wrote this little story. We had to write stories. And I wrote about my brother. And I wrote that he wore a uniform. I think I remember spelling the word uniform like Y-O-U. And then I put an E on the end for uniform, F-A-R-M, you know, or something like that. It was kind of funny anyway. I could try this Dr. Pepper. Tastes very much like the regular Dr. Pepper. But it's good. I love their gravy. That's the best. joins the Canadian Air Force, goes to Ontario, does his basic training. Then he gets sent off to Germany. I think it was Baden, but I'm not sure. But anyways, he was going to be in Germany for about 3 years. You know, I had to drive about 15 minutes to get this, and it's still hot. I wrap it up in my reusable grocery bags. In the winter, I turn on my heated seat. So off he goes. He's in Germany now. So of course, Mom and Dad miss him like crazy. Especially Mom. I mean, Wayne was her first baby. Wayne was the golden boy, the star of our family. And here he was, Wayne, in another country. You know, another continent. So, Mom and Dad decided they wanted to go visit him. No problem. All they had to do was fly to Europe. Well, in Saskatoon at that time, it wasn't that easy. Saskatoon, you could only fly to Saskatoon to a few locations, most of them somewhat domestic, you know. You couldn't go domestic flights where it would be maybe to Calgary, you know, places like that, Edmonton, Vancouver, maybe. Well, the dates and times they wanted to go, there were no flights out of Saskatoon, even on a good day. So they had to go to a major city to fly out to go to Europe. The closest city they could go to fly out of at that time was Montreal. It's kind of funny. It's almost like you live in Saskatoon, you want to go to Europe, but it's like, well, you can go there, but you can't get to there from here, you know. So, anyways, they thought that they had to do it that way. They had no choice, right? So they wanted to go to Europe, see my brother. So they sucked it up. Got on the train. I think it was about 2 nights on the train all the way to Montreal, where they would fly out and go to Europe, to Germany. Seems absurd now, but that's the way it was at the time. So that's what they did. Now, my sister and I, she was 3 years older. She was 12. We couldn't be home alone, obviously. We had another sister who was 10 years older than me. She was 19, but she was working full time, living on her own. And Mom and Dad kicked the idea around of her coming, staying at the house and looking after us, but she'd be gone working during the day, and she had a good social life, and they knew that was important to her. So they knew they had to get a different arrangement set up. So Dad knew these people who lived in my old stomping grounds, very close to the Montana border. A town called Coronac. Coronac was very close to where I was born, the town of Rockland, and very close to the town that I lived in for 5 years called Buffalo Gap. So Mom and Dad thought we'd get a kick out of living in our old stomping ground, so to speak. Like living there for 2 weeks, I mean. So the people we went to stay with, they lived on a farm about a mile outside the town of Coronac. Their names were Roy and Christine Wagner. They had no kids. They were middle-aged guess, late 30s, early 40s, something like that. I mean, when you're 9 years old, everybody seems older. Gotta try by this, but I love their biscuits too. So, Dad knew these people because he worked for the Saskatchewan Farmers Union. So he'd spend 5 days on the road, traveling around, talking to all the farmers about their griefs and concerns and whatever. And that's how I got to know so many farmers within, like a 300-mile radius. So he thought these people would be perfect for my sister and I to stay at for 2 weeks. So we drove from Saskatoon down to Karnak and drove to their farm about a mile out of town. And we met them. Roy and Christine were very nice people. They called her Chris for short. Everybody called her Chris. Roy was a lovely man. He was very nice, very hardworking. He worked that farm very hard. Sun till sundown. He always had the dirtiest hands because he was always monkey wrenching a tractor or a combine or a seeder or something, right? He was always doing something. He was always working hard. Chris looked after their personal garden, which was about the size of anywhere from a half acre to an acre. A lot of farmers back then had huge gardens. I mean, they were massive because that's what they lived on. And a lot of times they would grow extra stuff to feed chickens or cattle or whatever, pigs. Corn made good pig food, One thing I noticed about Chris, she chain smoked cigarettes called Mark 10. And she always had these brown fingers and she always had this dark ring around her hand, I guess from the way she held the cigarette or something. But she loved those cigarettes. That's crispy, crunchy chicken. So, those cigarettes, you could pull the tab off. And they're like a coupon. And she would save all those. And she had lots of them because she smoked a lot. She was a little rough around the edges, Later I would see her. Rarely would I see her without a glass of wine or a glass of beer or something. But it's neither here nor there. But the day Mom and Dad dropped us off, I'll never forget. Mom gave me she reached in her purse and gave me and my sister each $1. I never had that much money in my whole life. $1. Do you know how much $1 is to a little kid? If you live in the United States, it's about 37 cents. Well, anyways. Canadian dollar's not worth as much, but back then, to me, that was a lot of money. So, that was cool. I had a whole $1. Now, Mom and Dad stayed for a while and they visited, and then, of course, they had to leave. So they take off. So we get to know Chris and Roy, they're very nice people. Roy, like I said, was very gentle, very lovely, lovely man. And I remember when I was fine until it started to get dark. When the sun started going down, I suddenly felt homesick and kind of the pit in my stomach just kind of, it felt very lonely. Oh, that was just the first night I did. I had a few nights like that. But my bedroom's upstairs. There's 3 bedrooms up, one on the main floor. And my sister and each had her own rooms. Now, Chris and Roy are very social people. They were always visiting. They always had people dropping in. And this one guy used to come over. His name was Ted. I called him Teddy. I guess he was in his 30s. He had a wife and kids of his own, but he was separated. He was a very funny man, very nice. He loved kids. I took to him right away. He had his own farm. He had a hired hand named Billy, who was 19. Billy was engaged to be married. So, one day when they came over, they said, "You want to go for a ride?" I said, "Sure." That made Chris happy because the less babies that she had to do, the happier it seemed to make her, so she was fine by that. So he wanted to go check his cattle and all that. Hopped in his pickup truck. He's driving. I'm in the middle. And Billy, he was always sitting there with his arm, like this, with the window down like this, always had the radio on, And we're listening to the radio, and he turns up and goes, hey, he said, "That's the Kinks." And Teddy's going, "Well, Teddy preferred country and western. The music Billy listened to wasn't what he liked. Now, I had heard of the Kinks, but I was a total Beatles fan. So I wasn't really familiar with the music, but I just remember that for some reason. I think it was "You Really Got Me" or something by the Kinks was on the radio. But that just stuck in my mind. Excuse me. Because that's the kind of music that Billy liked, which is so different than what Ted liked. So we drive around, we check his cattle, and went and saw his farm and did a few things. And I really liked hanging out with these guys. It was so much fun, they're so nice. All these people were so pleasant the whole time, so much fun. I remember we were driving by this one farm, and as we're going by, we see this tractor, and there's 2 kids on this tractor. One kid's driving, the one's just sort of hanging on. I said, "Wow, those are kids." And Ted said, "Yeah." He said, "They're a little bit older than you, maybe 11 or 12. Their dad was, he used the word crippled." He said their dad was crippled. Not my favorite word, but no, I'm not sure what happened. Now, their dad was able to do some things, but the kids stepped up at that age, and they did a lot. It was amazing how much they had to do. I think the dad could still operate some machinery, but he just needed help getting in and out. But the kids really stepped up, and they had to take on the adult portion, basically, That blew me away, because I knew that a lot of young kids on a farm would learn to drive the machinery, like the truck, for instance. As long as they could reach the pedals, that they could drive. And that's the way it was on a lot of farms. If you could reach the pedals, baby, you were driving. As long as you stayed on the property, you couldn't go off the property. So that was the deal with those kids. I was so impressed by that. And they still went to school. They worked like men. Very impressive. So one day, I'm at the house and Ted comes over. I was talking about a buddy of his. So my buddy got pinched for burning purple gas. Now I knew that purple gas was illegal to burn in your regular vehicles. No, purple gas was just regular gas that had a purple dye in it. And it was for farmers to use in their farm vehicles only. That was the government's way of giving the farmers a break. If you burnt it in your regular vehicle driving down a government road, you get a fine, or you'd be entitled to a fine. It was amazing how many times police would randomly pull somebody over, and they'd be burning purple gas. Because all farmers had a big, 500-gallon storage tank of gas and diesel on their farm. So they probably thought, well, if I'm driving into town, I may as well get some gas. So, there's no point in buying regular gas. I'll just gas up with my purple gas. What are the odds of getting caught? Well, some people would get caught. Not sure how much the fine was. But I spent a lot of time hanging out with Ted and Billy. Of course, a lot of times they had full days work to do, so they weren't around. But when I was at the house, there was a small pond. I used to go down there and throw my fish line in. It was basically just full of frogs and stuff. Never caught any fish because I don't think there's any fish in there, but it was just a lot of fun. And there was a family that lived up the road. And I went there one day, just for the afternoon, and my sister and I did too. And they had like one of those ride-on lawnmower type things, like a tractor. And we rode around on that. That was so much fun. They were very nice people. There was one day, Dad comes to the house and wants to know if I want to go to a rodeo. So we went to this rodeo. And my sister and I go. And it's just packed full of people. There's horse trailers everywhere. Camping trailers, pickup trucks. It seemed to me everybody was drunk. They're all having a good time. Yeehaw. Hot day. And I remember all the rodeo events. But I just remember that the whole atmosphere was very carnival-like. It was just a lot of fun, but it seemed like everybody was just swilling beer, and I guess that's what they were doing, but they were having fun anyway. So that was my first and only rodeo. nice hanging around, in that area. I was really starting to enjoy myself. I was having fun. I remember this one night we went to this big, there was always some kind of gathering going on. I went to this, a big outdoor potluck type thing. The type you throw at harvest time or something, something like that. I don't know what the event was. Can't remember, but the food was just, it was great. I met lots of kids my age. Played with a lot of kids, which was really nice. I needed that. So that was fun. I also remember going to, they had, I know, it was Billy's, Billy and his fiance were going to get married. And that was coming up too, but I remember, excuse me, my goodness, pardon me, a couple of nights before, or maybe about a week before they got married, Billy got really, really drunk. Christine and Roy had a big gathering for some reason, and Billy was just gooned. I remember they had to carry him upstairs to my bed, and he's just like this, right? Just right out of her. And I remember he passed out of my bed, and I had to sleep on the couch. I remember they put me on the couch, just kind of fell asleep, and I woke up next morning, and everybody was gone, and there was a blanket over me, and that's all I remember. It was kind of weird. I slept through the whole party. So this one day, the phone rings. They still had the old ringer phone. Well, we had that in Buffalo Gap too, the old party line ringer phone. And this is 1966, and they still had that one. And my sister, who still lived in Big Beaver, a few miles away, just a stone's throw, she phoned me. We talked on the phone for a while. No sooner hung up, and the phone rang again. It was for my sister. It was her friend Susan. See, my sister was 3 years older. Had gone to school in that area before we moved to Saskatoon, and she rode the school bus, and she got to be friends with this girl named Susan Chalmers. And Susan Chalmers, they had a family farm not too far away. And they wanted to know if we wanted to go stay there for a night or two. That was fine by Chris, and she was happy about that. No, they didn't live too far away, and we were going to go the next day, which was Sunday. But that night is the Saturday night dance. They always had a dance in town every Saturday night. Always had live music. But they're always held at the town hall on Main Street, usually wherever it was. Always had a live band. A lot of fun. Everybody could go. It was a big social event every Saturday night. Crispy chicken. So we went to the dance, and had a lot of fun. Of course, by the time the dance was over, they had to carry me to the car. I'd fallen asleep. So So the next day, they drove us out to the Chalmers farm, a few miles away. Now, Susan had two sisters, an older one. I remember she was, I think, going to nursing school or something. But she had a younger sister, about a year younger than me, Wendy. And they were all very nice people, very wholesome, lovely family. The mom and dad were so nice. They were just so lovely. They had a beautiful farm, hard-working couple. And when you turn off the road, you drive up this road with trees on each side, you know. Big barn and corrals, and like there's always like these nice trees, like a few fruit trees and a bit of an orchard and a garden, and just really nice. And they we rode some horses there, and they had one horse they were looking after for their neighbors. And I'd like to bite people, and it bit Wendy in the arm about 2 weeks before I got there. It was all bruised up and everything still, and it just seemed kind of odd because the whole family was so nice. Even the animals were nice, except for their horse. But like I said, it was the neighbor's horse, not theirs. It was just that horse didn't really fit in. But it had, you know, big teeth like horses do, and it just liked to bite people. It was weird. So my first night there, I had to sleep on the couch. And I remember Mr. Chalmers. Still can't remember his first name. I remember him saying to me, well, tomorrow we're going to do this, and we'll do that, we'll do this and that. And I was looking forward to it. So the next day, we went out. And we had to take the salt block out to the pasture for the cows. And we drove around, did some stuff like that. And I remember they always milk their cows early in the morning. And I had lots of cousins. I mean, I grew up around farms. I had lots of cousins. They had to do chores before they went to school in the morning. You know, gather eggs from the hen house, or help milk cows, or help put feed down, you know, for the cows at nighttime or whatever. You know, milk the cows, you know, feed the chickens, slop the hogs. You know. So when it came down to milking cows, he wanted to know if I wanted to milk a cow. I was kind of hesitant because I remember going with my sister, her husband, into the barn to milk cows. And the cow he's trying to milk was very belligerent. It kept trying to kick and was moving around. And, you know, it was kind of intimidating, actually. And cows, for the most part, are quite gentle by nature, I think, but they're big, or they can throw their weight around. So, Mr. Chalmers and I went to the barn, got a bucket, and there's a stool, and he just showed me what to do. And I'd seen people milk cows all my life, but never actually, I don't recall ever trying to do it. So I sat down. I remember I had to reach way down, reach underneath like that, you know, just because the cow's right there. I'm trying to reach, you know, I got my face up against the cow, and you know, I remember that so well. And there's flies buzzing around. The cow would try to swat me with its tail. I guess just swatting flies or something. Got me a couple times, but I just started pulling, and all of a sudden you hear this psh, 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 like that of the milk hitting the bucket. And I remember Mr. Chalmers said, yeah, I had a guy, good for you, you know. first cow. We stayed there, like I said, 2 nights. Had a lot of fun. They were a lovely family. Very wholesome, just wonderful. A few years later, a tragedy would befall this lovely family. But I'll get to that a little bit later. So we go back to Chris and Roy's house. And they asked me if I had fun. I said, yeah, a lot of fun. It was really nice staying there. It's just a blast. I remember in the evenings, my sister and I, Chris and Roy would, like I said, they're very social. When people were at their house, they were going somewhere, and it seemed like almost every evening they'd go out somewhere for a short time. And when they went out, my sister and I would sit on the back porch and sing songs, like songs by the Beatles or, Sonny and Cher, whatever we heard on the radio, right? And we'd pass the time doing that. I remember this one day. It's funny, I always hate to say it, but I would get up early in the morning. For some reason, for a little kid, most little kids like to sleep in, but I'd be up early, around the crack of dawn, everyone else would be sleeping. And I remember seeing these big cigarette butts in the ashtray. And I took one of the cigarette butts and I took it outside. And I lit it up and started smoking it. I didn't inhale, but I was like Clinton, I didn't inhale. I started smoking it. I remember, I hate to say it, but that wasn't the first time I tried doing that. I think I tried it with my friends back in Saskatoon, probably months earlier. That's good. But Chris was one of these people. She buttered her smoke, so there's always quite a bit left. But that $1 my parents gave me, I went through that pretty quick. I remember buying a big bottle of orange Fanta, and buying candy and whatever. $1 back then could go a long way. Back in those days, they had 3-for-1 candy. You could literally buy 300 candies for $1. It was crazy. So, Billy and his fiance, they did get married. That was just getting towards the end of our stay down there. I remember the night before, or a couple nights before, they had this gathering for them. And there's a lot of kids there. It was a lot of fun. But I remember going to the wedding, and it was I remember Billy out in the parking lot smoking cigarettes, and all the guys are out there. And that's really all I remember about the wedding. I don't remember a lot except for later on the reception, bits and pieces of that. But I often wondered, he got married when he was 19, I think his bride was 18. I wonder how they made out, if they stayed married, or how are they doing today, Because Billy would be 76 now if he were alive. But they were such nice people. Remember this one day, towards evening, I was walking this tall grass by the barn. This grass would be way up to my waist. I was wading through there, and I saw these 2 things up ahead, and they were skunks, 2 skunks, and they were just basically ignored me, right? They didn't seem as a threat, so I just backed off, and that was it. I didn't go any closer, and I didn't dare. And then Roy found a big snake in the feed trough of the cattle. And he said sometimes they try to get into the hen house and get the eggs and stuff like that. I think it was a bull snake or something. I can't remember. It was a great big thing anyway. It wasn't poisonous. But our stay there came to an end. I had a lot of fun. Very good 2 weeks. A lot of fun. I remember saying goodbye to Teddy. He was such a nice man. I often wonder what became of him too. You know, all those farmers are so, they always help each other out, so neighborly. Very nice people. So my parents came and picked us up. I was happy to see them. They had brought a cuckoo clock for Roy and Christine as a gift for looking after us. And I remember Roy and Christine, they put it up right away and they pulled the things and the thing said cuckoo and they were just thrilled. I thought that was great. Got a real kick out of it. So we went back to Saskatoon. I remember driving back, they're telling us about their trip, and Mom and Dad had bought this camera. It wasn't an SLR, so when you looked at the viewfinder, you were not looking through the lens. So if you left the cap on the lens, you wouldn't know it. Unless you happened to see that you left it on. But you wouldn't see it looking through the viewfinder. So of course they went all over Europe taking all kinds of pictures with their lens cap on. They got a lot of good pictures, some really good pictures. They really toured around Europe a lot. My brother showed them a good time. Excuse me. He was doing well over there. They're happy to see him. He had really got to know the country. You know, he would go to Switzerland and Italy. He was all over Europe. Austria, whatever. So he showed them a really good time when he could. I mean, he had to work most days, but he did get time off. And they went to his barracks. Mom wasn't allowed in, but Dad was. And, you know, my parents, they saw a lot. They did a lot. They saw a lot. Then they got some great pictures all on slides. But, of course, they missed quite a few, too, because of that lens cap thing. But, anyways, getting back to the Chalmers. Most wonderful family. Years later, I think around 1970, thereabouts, because I was down there in 66, around 70, 71. Like I said, a lot of the kids learned to drive the vehicles when they're on the farm. And Wendy was driving the car, just the regular family car, around the property. And for some reason, she went down the road and turned onto the highway, which was actually a gravel road, but it was still a public, it was ground land, it was a public highway. And when she turned on, this car came by and T-boned her, just bang like that. Now, she lived, nobody was killed, but she got banged up. She was in the hospital for a long time. I'm not sure if she suffered any long-term physical, repercussions from that. The people in the other car, of course, they got a lawyer, and they claimed all kinds of things, and they sued, and the Chalmers lost everything. They lost the whole entire farm. They lost everything. My sister told me a while later that even if they had settled out of court, they would have lost everything because it was just such a huge. I mean, they had no insurance. You know, Wendy was not only underage, she didn't even have a driver's license, and she was driving down a public road, so there was no insurance. They had had a couple of bad years on the farm as it was. I mean, when you have a bumper crop, things are great, but they had had a couple of bad years, so they were in debt already. And this pretty much finished them off financially. But they all moved to the city or to neighboring towns. They all got jobs, and they just went on from there. Lost the whole entire farm, lost everything, machinery, everything, which is really, really sad because they were just such a wonderful family. But, such is life. I know Brenda stayed in touch with Susan for many years, and I think they all kind of bounced back. I mean, at least nobody was killed, That's the main thing. So they all kind of bounced back. So, but anyways, on a happier note, like I said, yes, after the trip was over, a couple weeks later, my dad went down to visit Roy and Christine, and Trixie the dog, who was pregnant, who was as round as she was long because she was so pregnant. She had about, I think, 6 or 8 puppies, so that was kind of happy. My sister Brenda and I were just tickled pink to hear that, because the whole time we were down there, she would walk. She's like a little terrier, right? She'd just kind of waddle along because she was just so pregnant, and she'd be waddling around there and always so happy, and the dogs were wonderful, But we were so happy to hear that. Well, and that was one of the best couple weeks of my life. It was a very good summer. Summer is 66. So there it is, my friends. That's the story for you. That was good chicken. And this Dr. Pepper cream soda, to me, I gotta be honest, it just kind of tastes the same as the other one. I really can't tell a lot of difference. I really can't. Maybe they're side by side. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you're all doing well out there in the land of awesome, and that you're all staying cool. Okay, you look after yourselves, look after each other. Keep those comments coming in. I know sometimes my shoutouts are a bit late getting to you. That's because I record my videos ahead of time, and because Linda and I went away on a little vacation there. I had to record a few videos ahead of time just to make sure that they all came out while I was away. So, and as far as comments, if I don't comment your comment right away, if I don't reply to it right away, it's not because I'm ignoring it. Sometimes I find 20 minutes to go down there and comment. I have to go do something else. So I will get your comment and your shout out as soon as I can, okay? So thank you for all your support. I love you all. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and stay amazing,